I am Sebastian. When we were discussing about intracellular trafficking, we have seen that there are three ways by which intracellular trafficking is carried out. One is COP1 mediated, which is a retrograde. Second is COP2 mediated vesicles, which is andrograde. Now the third one is clathrin coated vesicles. So the clathrin coated vesicles are used for transportation. This is the primary way by which endocytosis occurs. That is, proteins or plasma membranes or molecules from outside, it can be brought inside through clathrin coated endocytosis. So what are the requirements in order to carry out clathrin coated endocytosis? So, the two important requirements in order to understand this mechanism, first of all, we need to look at clathrins. So, clathrin, it means it's forming a kind of a lattice. We need to look at this structure. Second, we need to look at the structure of another adapter protein. So, these are the two things primarily we need to look at in order to understand this mechanism. Let us begin with the clathrin. See, clathrin is it has got two kinds of polypeptide chains. One is a heavy chain. If the heavy chain molecular weight is about 180 kilodalton. Then it has a light chain. In the light chain, molecular weight is about 30 kilodalton. And these two occur in equimolar concentration. And these structures, it forms something called a triskelion. Triskelion structure is, let's create a little space here. The triskelion structures look something like this. So this is the triskelion structure. So what is evident here is it has a proximal subunit, it has a distal subunit, and this will be what we call it a knee region, and this is an angle region. This is called a linker. And in the final, this is called a terminal domain. So this is the basic portions of the heavy chains. So therefore, there is a proximal region, there is a knee, a distant subunit, there is an angle, there is a linker, and then there is a terminal domain. Now remember, this is a portion which is very important in the terminal domain. Now other than that, it also has in the light chain. So here is a light chain, here is a light chain, and this is the light chain. This is the structure of a triskelion. Now the triskelion can be arranged in many ways. Three different arrangements are normally seen. One mechanism is about 28 of them will arrange together, and it becomes a kind of a ball-like structure. It becomes a kind of a ball-like structure, global structure. If the second kind of arrangement is about 36 of them join together, and it forms a kind of a cylindrical barrel. So it forms a kind of a cylindrical barrel. And the third kind of arrangement seen is about 60 of them arranged together, and it becomes a soccer ball. So I request that you look into a textbook in order to see the shape it takes. And all the structures have been very well identified. It has been characterized with the help of electron microscope. So these are the three shapes it takes, and it forms a kind of a cage. So this is forming a cage, and the cargo is going to be inside. Okay, so we are looking at the structure of the Clathrin structure, the triskelion which is from the Clathrin coat. Another requirement is what we call the adapter proteins. Now, there are many adapter proteins identified. The most important ones are adapter protein number 1, number 2, number 3. Of late, there is a number 4 which is being identified in certain organisms. Now, if you look at the adapter protein which is very well characterized is adapter protein number 2. So, this adapter protein number 2, it has got 4 subunits, and these subunits are alpha, beta 2, then mu 2 and sigma 2. These are the subunits. Now, in the alpha and the beta forms in the trunk region. So, let us draw the trunk region. Okay, it forms, so therefore this is the trunk region. This will call this one as alpha and this is called the beta 2 subunit. Now in the mu 2 and in the sigma 2, so let us assume this is the mu 2 and the sigma 2 in green color, okay, they are inside. What is important is in the configuration it has. So diagrammatically we are showing that it is not accessible at the moment. Okay, this is not accessible. Now these are the subunit which are responsible for binding to the receptors. Okay, these are responsible for binding to the signal receptors. Now, after having understood the two requirements, that is the Clathrin and the adapter, so let us look at how this whole process occurs. Now, the whole process occurs with the help of ARF protein. So the first step in order to understand this Clathrin coated vesicle formation is we have this ARF protein. So this is adenosine diphosphate ribosylation factor. Now this is bound to a GDP molecule. The same way we have seen in COP1, the same protein is involved here. Now, this has to be replaced, the GDP has to be replaced with an ARF GTP. That is the first step. Now, here in this case, this activation, this replacement of GDP with the GTP. So, GDP removed and GTP added. This is catalyzed by another protein. That protein is called RNO protein. RNO catalyzes, leads to the conversion, replacement of GDP with the GTP protein, a GTP molecule. Now RNO is basically acting like a GTPase. What happens when this happens to this GTP is binding to this ARF? So in the ARF protein, we are drawing here, so the ARF protein, because it is a conformational change is happening because the GTP is bound to it. So GTP is bound, a conformational change happens, and if the alpha chain slowly opens and it will release a site for the myristic acid binding site is open. The myristic acid is now this is the myristic acid, it is binding to the membrane. The myristic acid now it is anchored. This ARF GTP is now it is anchored. This is the first step in formation of Clathrin coated protein. Once this step is initiated, the next step is to bring the adapter protein. Now the adapter protein will come here. So the adapter protein, let us denote the adapter protein like this. This is the adapter protein. Okay. Now it has got the two regions inside. One region and in the second region, this is the mu2 and in the sigma2 in the adapter protein. Now there is something very important. That is there is a inositol diphosphate. So here there is an inositol diphosphate which will bind to the adapter protein. And this inositol diphosphate is inositol 4,5 diphosphate. So this binding of this inositol diphosphate is very significant. 4 such molecules bind to adapter proteins. 4 such molecules bind. That cause a structural change in this adapter protein. What happens is this structural change, this is going to be changed into a structure like this. So you have either mu2 opening this way and either sigma 2 opening this way. And that is opening and ready to bind with the receptor. Ready to bind with the cargo receptor. Now the cargo receptor which is present in the membrane, it will bind to this. This is the cargo receptor, it is binding to the adapter protein. Now cargo receptor has at the C terminus, it has got a tyrosine related signal present. So this signal is detected and it binds to the sigma 2 and the mu 2. All this is leading towards formation of the curvature. So this will lead to formation of the curvature. It slowly begins to bend. It slowly begins to bend. Okay. It slowly begins to bend. Now, the coating has to be formed. Now, how the coating is formed? So this is this AP protein. This is the AP protein. This is forming the inner coat. So therefore, if that is forming inner coat, we will put the curvature this way. Curvature this way. So this is the AP protein forming the inner coat. Now the outer coat is formed by the clathrins. Clathrin comes into the picture. Now in the clathrin, that the triskelion. The triskelion comes, and this is the domain which will interact with this in the arm of this. Okay, it will interact with the arm of the AP protein, and there will be many other AP proteins. Okay, many other AP proteins connecting to the receptor, and this is interacting with the triskelion. Okay, interacting with the triskelion, and this triskelion forms the outer coat. So effectively what happens is you have a coat, you have a vesicle, the inner coat is made up of AP protein and the outer coat is made up of clathrin, and you will have the receptors inside which is binding to the cargo, and this is how the clathrin coated vesicles are formed. So therefore, you can have clathrin maybe assembled with the 28 triskelion, 28 triskelion, or with the 36 triskelion, or with the 60 triskelion. It will form different shapes. Once it forms different shapes with the cargo attached, so that structure is formed. Now that structure is not exactly getting separated. So I have drawn only in order to explain the mechanism. What happens is, if you consider this is the membrane and this is how the vesicle is getting, the clathrin coated vesicle is forming. So this is the inner membrane, outer membrane, it is forming, and this is with the cargo inside. Now it must get separated. Okay, so how this separation occurs? And in the case of clathrin coated vesicles, the separation is very well studied. So scientists have identified a protein, and the name of the protein is dynamin. Dynamin is a protein, and this dynamin protein get assembled around this into a kind of a helical structure. Dynamin get assembled around the neck of this vesicle, and it will bind, it will bring the lipid bilayer close to it. If the lipid layer is brought close, and then it pinches off. So that is how the clathrin coated vesicle gets pinches off from where it has been formed with the help of dynamin structure. Dynamin requires energy. That energy is provided by hydrolysis of a GTP, hydrolyzed to GDP. That energy is used for pinching off the vesicle. Now, once this vesicle is pinched off, now we are talking about endocytosis. Now, once it is pinched off, the coat has to be removed. How to remove the coat now? So, in order to remove the coat, we have another protein, another hydrolyzing protein which will remove this coat. Now, that is an HSE70. So, an HSE70, a chaperone which will help in removing the coat with the help of an ATP hydrolysis. So, an ATP hydrolysis is needed, and that will result into clathrine is removed, the triskelion, triskelion is removed, that is removed, plus the AP proteins are removed, they are all removed from this coat. So, it will become a naked coat which is capable of merging with the required place. So, the endocytosis process happens in this way. So, this is how it forms a vesicle and how it is getting merged with the target organelle. What we have seen in the case of this clathrine coated vesicle is, we have looked at what is the main function, what are the requirements for this particular process, and how each of these steps is being carried out with the formation of cargo selection, activation of these AP proteins, how it is binding, then how the inner coat is formed, how the outer coat is formed with the help of clathrins, and how it is getting pinched off with the help of dynamic molecule, GTP hydrolysis. Once it is separated, what is the role of HSE70, a chaperone, in order to remove the coat, uncoating of this vesicle, and then it is getting merged with the right location. So, this is how the clathrine coated vesicles are transporting cargo.